sip some tea while we spilling the tea. Yeah. Real talk, real smiles, dentistry. Safe space vibes, clarity. Pull up a chair, yeah, your family.
Well, girl, here we are.
Here we are.
Spilling the tea.
Spilling the tea.
Finally.
Lead.
All right. This is the initial pour.
The initial pour.
How did we get here, actually?
We should probably get into it.
Yeah, how did you get into dentistry? Because dentistry was not my first choice.
Well, tell us. How did you get into dentistry?
And it's funny that you're looking at me like that, because every time I try to tell you that I want to get out of this field, and you're like, no, you're good at what you're doing in this field. You need to stay in it. But that's just a testament that it chose me. I did not choose it. I went to school for medical assisting first. Graduated early. And I needed to find a job because I had tuition to pay back.
Right.
And I just kept putting out my resume in different spots, different places. Even the temp agencies, it was not like how it is now where people run to there quite often to book somebody for an extended stay or for a window of time.
Right.
Then it was where you would go to hopefully try to find a job and hopefully land someplace permanent. But there were hardly any prospects. No one was looking to hire anyone straight out of any type of medical assisting or nursing program. And so I was waiting tables, and I was still sending up my resume. I think it had been about a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I got a phone call from a dental office. I did not know it was a dental office. That was not acknowledged. I never even responded to anything that I knew of that said dentistry. I just kept seeing receptionist, entry. And so I got a phone call, and they asked me to come in for an interview. Still didn't know the name of, what it was when I called to set up the interview, when they gave me the address, and at this time it was MapQuest.
Yes, good old MapQuest.
And so, where it said that you've arrived at the group, and so I pull up there, and I'm like, oh, this is a dental office. And so I went in, and long story short, I got interviewed, I got hired. I had been there for probably just about a year until I came in one Monday morning, saw someone at my desk. I thought I was fired. Because, I had struggles, retaining things.
Right.
Because I've never been in dentistry.
Right.
I've learned all of my dentistry at this point in my career. This is where I started to learn how to schedule the terminology, how much time things needed, what certain things went into certain procedures, because you had to know, if someone needed to schedule a crown, how to schedule a crown,
right,
and how to look that up and find that out. And so I think I was the replacement to this lady, and they decided to bring her back, and so they moved me to the back.
So you went from admin to clinical.
I did.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Okay.
Just like that. How it's kind of often done in this field, surprisingly. But I guess for the time, I'm definitely grateful for it, because that was my end. And working at this office is how you and I met. And I learned a lot more stuff after you took me under your wing. But tell people how you got into the field.
So mine was 100% intentional. I wanted to be a dentist first, and then I looked into how much it cost, and it was a lot. Even back in the early 1900s when I was looking into getting started. And I said, well, whoa, wait a minute. Let me see if I really like this. And there weren't dental assistant schools like there are now. So I had the bright idea of joining the armed forces as a dental assistant to see if I liked it first. And the only armed forces I would join is Air Force. And as a dental assistant, that's the only job that I chose. And I worked out, and I went to dental assistant school, which had a little bit of dental lab learning and what they now call an OPA, an oral preventative assistant. We were called Prophy Techs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's how I got my training. Very, very formal, and I love what I do, and I've been doing it for 38 years. So clearly I liked it.
Did you have any early expectations versus what it really was?
My early expectation was I really didn't have any because I was just going into it to see if I liked the profession, period. So I really didn't have any expectations versus what it really was. I wasn't really fazed by it, really. How about you?
For me, I didn't really know what to expect because I've had no experience.
Right.
I was learning how to draw blood, give injections, write prescriptions.
Right.
I will say that when I did get into the clinical side, the things that I did learn in the medical assisting program actually helped me to be able to to document correctly.
Right.
So that was something that was definitely helpful because it's healthcare.
Yeah.
So you have to know how to properly document, which
Right.
is key because it will keep you out of trouble.
Right. So you did have some crossover skills.
I guess early
Yeah.
on, and intentionally, I guess that would be
Yeah.
correct.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Check it out. Check it out.
What the reality for me was that early on, just even working at the front, I saw that it could be quite busy. It's definitely a different workhorse than medical. Whenever I have, when I did my internship, at the end of the program, because I did that at GW and PEDS, and versus when I was able to get an opportunity from a temp agency to work in a medical practice
Right.
and do things. So it's very much laid back from my experience in a medical office,
Right.
private medical versus private dentistry, because it was very hustle and bustly. And the office that we worked at, it was a general practice, but it had everything under
Right.
the same roof. We had endo, ortho, perio.
Pedo.
Yeah, so we had
Yes.
everything under the same roof. So the referrals were in house.
Right.
So, but yeah, I can't say that I was expecting it to be slow. I didn't know what to expect, but the reality of it was that it was going to be quite busy. So I kind of got the gist to
Right.
that. But did you have like any culture shocks when you got into your first office?
Culture shocks.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that my culture shocks weren't really culture shocks in the sense that it was a bad thing. The first office that I worked in coming out of the military, because, in the military you kind of work in a bubble. There's some of everybody, so all cultures are all mixed together. But the first office that I did work in when I got out of the military was all female.
Oh.
It was all female, and that was intentional. And everyone we referred to was female. So when we referred for services that we didn't perform, we oftentimes referred out to females. If we didn't have a female in that particular specialty, they did have some male dentists that they referred to, but that was kind of interesting in that when I went to the next office that was, co-ed, so to speak, the I wouldn't say the care was different, but the care was different from the practitioner because the females were more handsy and hands-on and about your feelings and your comfort and more motherly than the male dentists. Not to say that they were bad. I've worked with all great male dentists, so it was just that little bit of a shock was different. One other thing that I noticed throughout my career is sometimes I could be the only brown face in the room, and that was shocking. I didn't realize that it was going to be like that.
Yeah, the culture shock for me was not being the only brown girl in an office, but when you have other brown girls in the office with you that don't really view you as a sister, but more of a sister, which is what I used to get quite a bit. So that was the only, I guess, shock culturally that I had experienced, and I wasn't going to normalize that dysfunction with
Yes.
that. You know, because there's other dysfunctions that have become quite normalized
Yes.
in the dental practice.
Yeah, we can get into that later too, because there's a lot of dysfunction that people find to be normal, and especially people who've only worked in dysfunctional places. They think that's the norm, and it's not. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, it does cause quite. It can cause quite a few uncomfortable or discomfort moments. Do you have any that you?
I do have an uncomfortable moment that I can refer back to in my mind. I was the only brown person there, and we were having a discussion about assistants and how assistants can work or what they can and cannot do. And I'm a straightforward person. Some people might consider it being a BITCH. But that's not what I am. I'm just straightforward, and because I don't like miscommunications. So we were standing in a room, and it was the doctors and the assistants and the admin team. And again, I was the only brown girl in the room, and someone from the admin team decided what assistants can and cannot do, or are not capable of. And it just flew out of my mouth before I could filter it. And I said, well, no one cares what you think. And I was asked to repeat it. Like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And I repeated it. I said, no one cares what you think.
Oh, Frank.
And I think at that moment they were like, why is this brown lady talking to me this way? And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I was just saying, you're an admin. I don't care what you think, because I don't.
Now we'll be getting into that at some at some point.
Yes.
And we'll pour into that cup.
Yes.
Because that is a whole
Yeah.
thing, and it really should not be, and it really doesn't have to be.
I know.
Because I've been one of those people that have worked front and back and have always successfully remained Switzerland. Because it can be done. It doesn't have to be one versus the other, but
Correct.
some people try to garner favor to strengthen their position.
Right.
But that too is a conversation for a different day.
Yes, yes. Now, have I grown from that? Absolutely. I would never say something like that, but I was young. I would never say something like that out loud. I would give the same sentiment. I wouldn't use those words. But I have grown over the years and have realized that sometimes you can't just be straightforward or say things unfiltered, because people can get offensive and it can hurt people's feelings, and that's not nice.
Yeah, because depending on how they're feeling in the moment will determine how they receive it.
That is true. That is 100% true. I will say in that moment they all received it because I said it twice.
I bet they did.
But I've grown from that. I've grown from that experience, and I know better now. I know better.
I hope that you have friends.
Yes.
I've seen it. I've seen the growth.
Yes. Thank you.
But I will say, for me, when I look back, I get whiplash at how I was as a dental professional way back then yonder, and who I am now. And for me, sometimes let me back up a little bit. Our growth, our professional growth, our personal growth is going to happen in the time frame that it's supposed to.
That's true.
I wish that mine had blossomed a lot earlier, because if I had known the things that I know now, then I can only imagine where I would be now. But everything arrives at a certain time when it's supposed to.
Exactly.
And I have come to realize that.
Yes.
For me, I have become a much more disciplined team member. Whatever practice I've been in, I have been told this is not conceit. This is just
Facts.
I was going to say what was told to me, that any space that I have gone into, and this gives me some type of validation. So anyone that may doubt their position in the practice that they're working in, Sometimes just listen to some of your teammates, and not even having to have the verbal confirmation, but study body language, use soft skills, because sometimes the little nuances that they do actually is telling of who you are in
Right.
that space as a team member. But I've been told that any space that I've gone into and have worked, that I've elevated it. It could be just my presence, it could be the patient service that I provide, the patient education that I provide that they may not know. I tend to go above and beyond. Remember the hygienist that we used to work with, and she's always saying, "There you go again, being extra helpful."
Yes.
But now when I look back on it, I used to in the moment I used to think that, oh gosh, she must think I'm annoying. But now that I look back at it with much more mature eyes, I'm like, no, that was definitely a hell of a compliment.
Yes.
And I see it in now where I am and where I go, whether it's business or non-business or casual business. You know, when we go and speak and
Right.
and such, and
Right.
just the energy that is brought to those venues. But yeah, do you have any intentions? I wanted to ask you before I forgot.
For this, what we're this endeavor here, or period?
Let's try to combine the two.
Okay, so my intention is to make sure that there is an opportunity to mentor people who look like me and even people who don't look like me. Not as cute as
We
I
benefit.
am.
We benefit.
But I would say the idea that I have, my intention is to take my career, which is dental assisting, and bring it to a higher level, as a more respected profession, as it were. But my intention is to make sure that wherever I go, you get the impression that I'm on top of it. But I'm also approachable, and I'm willing to disseminate whatever experience or knowledge or expertise that I have.
Oh, you're not a gatekeeper.
No, not at all. That's not my intention. My intention is to elevate everyone who would cross my path and wants to.
And I can't wait till we get on that topic of conversation, because that is going to be a topic of conversation, because it happens in this field, especially in certain circles.
Correct.
So we'll definitely get into that.
Yes. How about you? What's your intention?
My intention, first and foremost, is to hopefully that you guys like the content that we put out within this endeavor, because dentistry is definitely more than HIPAA compliances. It's more than production goals, metrics, and all of those things. There's a lot that goes into dentistry on the forefront and on the back end.
Correct.
And we're going to be talking a lot about what's on the back end,
Right.
because it's not something that's often discussed, at least not in the safe space. There's a lot of pages, of course, on social media platforms where it just comes out more of a vent session.
Right.
And we definitely don't want to do that here on this platform here. We definitely want to share our personal experiences, and that's what they're going to be.
Right.
They're just personal experiences, some of which we had solo dolo, and some of them that we've had together because we've worked in multiple spaces together.
Right.
As colleagues.
Correct.
Co-workers.
Correct.
Team members.
Correct.
Mentor, mentee.
Correct.
So we just hope that anyone who's viewing, especially if you look like us, that you like what you see. There's going to be more to come. We hope that you learn something from it, because I've seen recently that there are a lot of, especially brown girls, black and brown girls, that I'm sure it happens to all colors, but I'm speaking personally, that's on my timeline, that I've seen a lot of brown and black girls that feel unheard, unseen, unvalidated, worked like a horse,
Dismissed,
and just feel very and just not validated. You know, like you're just
Right.
another cog in the system to help someone else better their position in their practice, and you get nothing from the reward. A thank you, a bonus, any type of acknowledgement,
Right.
nothing. Hell, even a Happy Meal.
right?
You know, so we definitely want to make sure that, you know, we relate that you see something in us, that you hear something that we may say that may resonate with you, and hopefully you have some type of takeaway from what we might share going forward, so that way you can probably apply that and know how to maneuver and navigate in certain spaces,
Right.
and how to deal with certain situations that may come may come about. And personally, I just want to see how much further I can go. I am excited. I don't know how many, because we're technically the seniors in this field at this
Right.
point because of our ages.
Right.
I just don't want to be burnt out before I'm on my way out.
Right.
You know.
Right.
We're trying to strive for that soft life, girl.
Right. I know that's right.
So this cup of tea was actually, it was a nice simmer. It was just kind of an introduction.
Right.
So that way our future cup holders can pull up a seat, just chill out, listen to what we have to say. Hopefully you like what we have to say, like I mentioned before, and we'll keep the episodes coming.
Yes. And we're just regular people actually working in offices.
Yeah. Oh, yes, because there's a lot of people who come in and train and
Right.
are touted as gurus. They haven't stepped foot in a dental office in years, and they just continue to disseminate the same information.
Right. And we're actually
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. And living this life day to day, and happy to share our experiences. And we have tons. We have
And
lots.
probably real time.
Yeah.
Since we're still technically
Girl.
on the...
Girl.
All right, so we'll see you at the next discussion, and bring your cups.
Yeah. This is tea.